Whoa, audience! How'd you get in my house? If you couldn't read the title above my head that says what video you're watching, this is Spider Myths 2 brought to you by Arachne Queen. And let's jump right in and let me paint a scenario in your mind. So there you are at your house or apartment or whatever, admiring that cactus you brought back from wherever the heck you got a cactus from. And you got it in like Mexico or Arizona or something like that. And you're admiring it, all of a sudden it starts to vibrate. Nay, it starts to hum. And all of a sudden, poof, baby tarantulas everywhere. What are you gonna do? Correct answer is nothing. Because this is never gonna happen. This is a completely false story. This is really just one big old urban legend, you can find it even on Snopes, that is about a tarantula who will go and lay its eggs inside of a cactus, and then when the babies hatch and get to a certain size, they somehow explode out of the cactus. Now, there are several things wrong with this story. One, tarantulas don't even have the right kind of jaws or fangs or anything to dig into a cactus. They're incapable of it. There are some itty-bitty spiders that could probably dig little holes into a cactus, but a tarantula, no. Second off, a mother tarantula usually doesn't leave her egg sac, at least not very far away from her. In fact, some carry it around with them, so why she would lay it inside of a cactus, which isn't even a very suitable area for a tarantula to live and thrive, is beyond me. And lastly, have you ever seen a baby tarantula? I mean, like a really baby tarantula. They're about the size of my pinky nail. And they're squishy little things. They're tiny, they're harmless, and they're kind of cute. They don't even have hair most of the time. Until they start molting for the first time, and then they'll start looking more like tarantulas. But they're tiny. Itty bitty. Also, last I checked, tarantulas don't have exploding properties. Here's another common misconception. The term arachnid is just a fancy name for a spider. This couldn't be more far from the truth. In fact, I will list for you now all of the different types of arachnid. Acari, Amblypygi, Aranei, Opiliones, Palpegrati, Pseudoscorpiones, Riccinuli, Schizomyda, Scorpiones, Soliphagi, Europygi. I'm sorry if there's some biology major out there watching and I totally mispronounced those wrong. It's not something I'm used to pronouncing. But only one of those words I rattled off meant spider. Aranei means spider. That's it. Other terms meant whip scorpions, tailless whip scorpions, pseudoscorpions, ticks and mites, everything. So as far as I can tell, arachnid means more than just spider. Here's a good one. It's been said that spider, or even tarantula, urine is poisonous and can cause lesions and rashes on your skin. Okay, spiders and tarantulas both do not have separate orifices or the ability to separate their waste. They eliminate from the same area, and none of it's urine. I mean, I've been pooped on by my tarantula, and nothing happened. Nothing. There was no rash, there was no lesions, nothing. It's just, it looks like a big lump of web. And it takes them forever to produce it. Their systems don't work very fast. So, A, there's no such thing as spider urine, and B, it is not known to cause actual rashes or lesions. I mean, I guess if you have some weird allergy to spider poo, then it could happen, but it's not likely. Now, let's talk about spider identification. People think that just because there are generalizations of various spiders, then they can identify them just from that generalization. That's actually completely untrue. Think the brown recluse, you know, the infamous kills everyone and causes necrosis brown recluse, which is not true. People say that it is a brown spider that has a violin design on its head. Okay, I'll give you that. Did you know that house spiders can also develop a violin design on their heads? Any spider can develop it. It's a random pattern. Just because there's a commonality with a certain breed or genus of spiders does not mean that it is exclusive. That's like saying a tabby cat is the only cat that can have a tabby-like design. No, there's Torbies and there's calicos with tabby marks. There's all kinds. It's ridiculous to think that it is exclusive to one specific spider. Now, let's say you found a picture on the internet that looks just like the spider you found. Well, guess what? The only way to properly identify a spider is actually through microscopic inspection. Unless they have obvious traits like, say, a crab spider, who are tiny and harmless and like to live in flowers, it's not a valid form of identification. Most of the things you find in your house are just that, house spiders. And they shouldn't be put outside. Hi, kitty. House spiders live in your house for a reason, and it's to gather up the bugs and mites and all the other little nasty things that are living inside your house and you don't know it because you have house spiders helping you. Also on the subject of identification, let's talk about hobo spiders. Now, I've heard a range of stories about hobo spiders, and the thing is, everyone says they're called the aggressive house spider. That was actually a mistake by the person who was originally naming them. He was unfamiliar with Latin terms and accidentally named what he meant to be called a house spider in the field, the aggressive house spider. The two Latin words are similar, so he mixed them up. So just because that one mistake, everyone has this weird stigma against hobo spiders. They are not aggressive, and people think that they can identify them by two distinct marks. One, the chevron marking on their abdomen, and B, their boxing glove like pedipalps. Now, as for the chevron, like I said earlier, almost any spider can develop that kind of pattern. It's sort of random. I've seen house spiders with chevron marks on them. They're harmless. And as for the boxing glove pedipalps, well, actually that can happen to any kind of spider. It's a mark of a sexually mature male. That's what they use as their sex organs, is their pedipalps. So he's just out looking to find a lady to pass on his genes, and that's all. Hobo spiders are not aggressive. They do not have dangerous bites. It might leave a welt, just like any spider bite can, because it's a welt. But they're not dangerous. You're not going to have some huge boiling blister on your leg from a hobo spider. And once again, they are not aggressive. Now, one last thing on the subject of bites that just irks me. I have people tell me, well, there were two little dots by each other, so therefore a spider must have bitten him, or me, or whomever they're telling the story about. Well, that's actually a very, very bad way to tell if a spider bit you. The thing is, if a spider of any size that you find commonly in a house, this includes wolf spiders, hobo spiders, house spiders, whatever, were to bite you, you wouldn't see two dots. You would have to use a microscope to see two dots, because their little fangs and little mouths are so close together that those little fangs going in would leave a dot so close together it would just look like one. Now, as for the bites you find that do have two next to each other, common fact is that there are types of bloodsuckers and various pests that will do one puncture into your blood or whatever, like say a mosquito, and if they're not disturbed, they'll do one right next to it. It's how they bite. It's how they get their jollies, I don't know. So it would really take something, say, the size of my tarantula, who is not going to bite you, but if she were, to get two marks. Because her fangs are big enough and she's big enough to leave two marks. So unless you're looking at your arm under a microscope to see if there are two itty-bitty tiny little dots, it probably was some other pest or bloodsucker. Sorry, hate to bust your bubble about hating on spiders biting you, because they're probably not. Unless you saw it bite you. Did you see it bite you? Well, no, I was asleep. Well, then it probably didn't bite you. So that does it for round 2 of Spider Myths, and I hope you feel like you have learned something, and you can share it with your friends or something. You have knowledge now that maybe they don't. And you can argue with them, because they'll probably think you're full of it, and argue that they totally got bit by this such and such spider and blah blah blah, and have no proof to, support it, but whatever. And you can cause complete schisms in your friendship over spider facts. Sound good? Actually, no, don't do that. I would feel pretty bad. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment, and like or dislike if you're a hater and disagree with me. but that wouldn't be very nice. So once again, thank you so much for watching. You can follow my Twitter, and I put out new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I will catch you guys next time.